Life could be a dream. Life could be a dream. Do 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 shaboom. Life could be a dream. If I could take you up in paradise up above.
It's called a cocoon or a worm egg. They don't lay it like a chicken. They slide out of the ring. I'm going to show you how we harvest the red worms. Joe, I need you to get the rake. Over here, so these are all worm beds. There's about a 1 acre worm bed out here. And we have cactus growing in it also. So we'll try to get the worm castings and not the fertilizer. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go over to this worm bed, bring the rake, Joe, and we're going to rake off the top fertilizer where it gets down to the worms. So it's serving two purposes here. We're going to take the rake and we're going to rake off the top because we don't want the fertilizer. We want the worms and the castings. So this is basically serving two birds with one stone. Okay. So here we go. We find where the worms are at, and then we'll take the shovel, fill up the wheelbarrow. The bobcat's being worked on, so as soon as it's ready, we can use the bobcat to pick them up. So we're gonna just down 2 or 3 inches, throw them in there like this. We'll get the wheelbarrow loaded, then we'll take them over to the harvest machine. Take them over the harvest machine. We'll run them through the worm harvester, which separates the worms from the castings, and the see them all right there. Show a picture of that. Those are breeders. Whenever they get the ring, they're a breeder. And that size, it takes about 1,000 of them to make a pound. So we're going to take these over to the machine and show you how we run the worm harvester. Now, Joe, you want to go ahead and turn on the machine for us? Ida, you set up the buckets. The buckets that go behind the machine that catch the worms. I'm going to show you. You just help with the buckets. Yeah, so bring the worms, the bedding over here. We'll dump it out like this. We want to keep the fingers away from the framework because it'll cut your finger off if you put it in the wrong place. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead. This first 2 screens, show them the screens. Okay, see those first 2 screens are 1/8 of an inch mesh. These right here. These are your castings. With balls out here, we put in piles and we bag them up. This 3rd and 4th screen is 1/4 inch mesh. And the stuff that falls out through here are the smaller worms and the eggs. We take that and we run it back in the bed, give them a chance to grow. And then the big worms will come out the end. I'll shove them through. The big ones will go right in the bucket on the right. So we'll shove them through like this. It's called a tramel screen. They use a lot of this in mining. We call it a worm harvest machine. So you shove it through there. This one we have to wait on. That big machine in the back, it'll keep 5 men going, and it waits on you. You can use the tractor to load it. This one here works good, so we're going to let this spin around, and they're going to come out down here. Let's show them a picture of the worms coming out. Casey, come around here, and the worms will come out right here where I'm pointing. They'll come out, and the worms will go right in this bucket here. Keep your fingers back away from the sheet, right there. And then when it gets full, we'll run it through again the second time. Then after we run it through the second time, we'll go put it on the table over here. We've already got a tray. That's right, Joe. Okay, we've already got a tray that's full, and I'll show you how we clean the tray. Here's the tray over here. So we'll put the tray on the table. This, and we'll brush off the top. these out of the way here. So brush off the top. When the sunlight hits the worms, they'll go dive, dive, and they go down to the bottom. So you just brush off the top like this. Let it set. Now these are grubs. Those are mixers. The red worms don't like them because they're constantly eating, bringing the soil from the bottom, and they bring it up to the top. And the red worms don't like them because they eat the baby worms and the eggs. And we're going to use, let's say we're all sitting in a living room watching TV, and something comes through your living room with a mouth this big going chomp, chomp. We're leaving. Same way with the red worms. They don't like them. So we'll brush off the top like this. When we start getting down to exposing the worms, we'll back off and go to another tray and give them a chance to dive. They're real sensitive to the sunlight. So they're going dive, dive, they're going down. So you heard the expression, the early bird gets the worm. They feed at night when it's dark, they come up to the top. When that sun's coming up, they're trying to go down before the birds get them. And we have these pools, we have fish, catfish, bluegill, goldfish, mosquito fish. We have them in these pools too. And so now we'll let that sit a minute. And I'm basically going to show you, if you have dinner, this is a worm box right here. So it has holes in the bottom, and this yellow lid goes on the bottom, and you take a cloth or a towel or something and you put over the lid, and then you just set your worm box right, come on, over here you guys, you set it right in here like this. Alright, so it fits in there, otherwise they'll crawl out the hole this way. Now when it rains, you need a light, and if it's dark, they'll run away. If you have a light, they won't run away. So basically, let's say we got a dinner table, we're all through eating, and then Ida goes,
Uncle Larry, can I get the table scraps?
yes, Ida, what do you want the table scraps for?
I want it for I can put it in the worm bed. No, it's my day. You did it yesterday.
Okay, Joe, there's enough for everyone. You can do the lunch, she can do the dinner. What, okay, every day. Now, who would like to maybe help out and do, anybody like to do the dishes?
Her. Me.
Okay, would you like to do the dishes? Okay, if you do the dishes, you get the table scraps first. And tomorrow, if you do the dishes, you can, would you like to help out and do the dishes?
No.
Okay, then you don't get your worm scraps. Ida gets it. Okay, anyway, it's a lot of fun, and I want to basically show you, give me that bucket, George, that the worms, you can take your table scraps, you just brush them off into this. Now I had Joe get a bucket here. They'll eat almost anything. Leaves, cardboards, paper, food scraps, and you just dump that in there if you want to, or you can just stick with plain food scraps, whatever you want to do. But they'll eat almost anything, and we'll put 1,000 worms in here. It takes about 1,000 to make a pound, and they eat half their own weight to their own weight every day. So it does need moisture, and if you have a cloth put over the top, then they'll come up and feed, and they do take a little bit of moisture. So if you maybe half a bottle of water every day, and you just keep adding to the box. And even if you go to McDonald's or Jack in the Box and you got the leftover paper cartons like this and the wrappers like this, they'll eat that. Throw all that stuff in there and you're not wasting anything. You're giving worm to the foods. Also, paper towels. How much in the United States, how many paper towels do we use in a week? Quite a few. Those can go in the worm bed too. The worms will eat those. And they'll just keep eating that, and after 3 or 4 months, if you want to take half of them and start another box, or bring them over here, I'll run them through my machine, and you can do this on any kind of scale that you want. It's a lot of fun to see what they like to eat, but you can't let them dry out. So it's a good idea to, if you juice the pulp, you can dump that in there, but they can't dry out, and it might be an idea of just stick it on your counter when you start it. But once these worms get their bring, they're a breeder. These are what you call red worms. Can you get a close-up of that? Takes about 1,000 to make a pound. See them in there? Now, once they have their little ring, they're a breeder. You can see the little ring. See a little ring right there? They're a breeder. Once they get the ring, they're a breeder. So
Like
when they
this one
breed,
too?
they'll get their 2 rings.
This one too?
Right, they'll get their 2 rings together, and then they slide out of that ring like I slide out of this shirt, and it makes a cocoon. And there's an average of about 7 worms in every cocoon, and they look like this. They're white when they come out. There is a white worm. Now, if you see a little white worm like this and it has a ring on it, that's not a red worm. That's a white worm. The red worms don't get the ring till they're 3 or 4 months, 5 months old. That's where you tell the difference. They will live to be 14 years old. There's another grub. These are good mixers. There's another grub. People feed these to their bearded dragons and to their fish. And the red worms have a lot of uses, and they just keep on. As long as there's another grub. As long as it's not too cold. They don't like it cold, but right now they think it's springtime, and they're really doing good.
Right here.
So they like to be left alone. If you leave them alone, they do better. They don't like you to walk on their beds. If you decide to make a worm bed outside, you can put borders or not. Now out there, there's no borders. Over here, we have some fiberglass worm beds over here. These are really good. They have holes in the bottom so it will drain. And these are close to the machine. We take our 3rd and 4th screen here and dump it on the bed right here. And then feed it. We put fertilizer on the top, and the worms will come up and eat it. If you got plastic Visqueen, you can lay that over the top. It keeps them warmer. Lay it over there, and they're just continuously eating as long as it's not too hot or too cold. So these bins are just perfect for this, and we get a rush order. They're right close to the machine. We can get them out quick. And is there any questions on the? Any questions? What do they like to eat?
They can. Yeah, exactly. What do they like to eat? What do they like to? Do they drink?
They need moisture, so you can't let them dry up. They do need moisture. That's one of the things. Complacency in the wintertime. You think you don't need to water, but they still need to be watered. And they don't like you to walk on their beds. They like it loose so they can move around. If it's compacted, they don't like it like that. Every once in a while, we have to go around the perimeter and dig it up and throw it back in the middle of the beds, because when it's compacted, they can't really get around. But they're really strong, and you think that they're gone. If you water and feed, they'll come back up. And you always have more than you think you have. So this is Teresa. She's one of our worm harvesters here. And what's your friend's name?
This is Artesia.
Hi.
Artesia?
Yes, she came to learn.
Welcome. You came to learn, and we teach people how to raise these worms. You can start off any kind of scale that you want. And it's a lot of fun.
What do the worms eat?
Well, we show them the table scraps, and I have a list that I give people. Table scraps, grass clippings, horse manure, cow manure. Chicken's too hot. But right now the leaves are all falling off the trees, and if you can gather up the leaves, they'll eat the leaves. But they don't like pine needles. There's too much acid in them.
Compost too. They like compost.
Do worms have 2 heads or 1?
They have 1 head, and the head, they have a little ring, and that's towards the head. Okay, so if the story that if you cut a worm in half, it'll make 2, no, that's not true. If you cut him, that's what I do at night. I have a pair of scissors, I stay up all, no, I'm just kidding. But the thing is, if you cut it behind the ring, the front part will grow, but the back one. We have 2 different kinds of red worms here. We got the regular red worms, and then we also have tiger stripes, and they have a yellow tail. And we got 2 different kinds of worms. Joe, did you have a question?
How many lives do a worm have? I heard that they have 5.
I don't know that much. I really don't know about that.
I heard it off of
But I don't know how they see in the dark, but one lady said she had a problem with gophers. I said, go to Walmart and get you one of these pins that glow in the dark and drew a picture of a gopher eating your plant and draw a circle and a line through it. Now, I do have, castor beans are good to keep gophers away. I have those. But we raise hogs. While we're here, I want to show them the hogs while you're right there. We have pigs, we have mule hogs, durocs, wattle, we have a lot of hogs, and the cactus like to eat the hog. I mean, the hogs like. Anyway, you know what I mean. So there's a cage. We transport them in here. Oh, can you go turn off? Unplug the water tanks overflowing. We pump the water out of the doughboy into the tank to irrigate. These are some of the pigs here. These kids get along with them. They play with them all the time.
Oh, so the kids can play with the pig.
Yeah, these are small ones. The big ones are in the other pen.
Oh, my son would love it.
So,
Make it huge.
so they also, the worms like the pig droppings. And one lady came over one night. She was so excited. She had a red worm that was about that long in the pig pen. So she showed me that.
Anyone in here who's selling this?
How much for the big pigs?
How much for that one?
45. So anyway, if you have any questions, Casey's going to put my phone number on there, and if you want to know more about it, give me a call, or if you want to come over and visit the worm farm here, we're at 456 Yermo Road in Yermo. Just give us a call before you come, and we'll give you a tour. There's different ways of growing them. You can grow them right on top of the ground, and they don't need borders. Or you can grow them in containers, and they will eat your food waste, which can save a lot of electricity and water for the food waste, and it can also have the kids help you to clean the table. So that's all I got for now, okay?